why gluten? What's the deal with gluten? If we're going to put it in the
No,
soil, is it not going to come up in the plant?
no, it will not come up in the plant.
Okay.
Plants
So,
only take in what they need. They take in the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that they need. The plant as it grows communicates with the food web and tells the food web what it needs. The food web will then go out, in some cases over a mile, to bring back, and it's been measured, and bring back what minerals and substances the plant needs to create its fruits and its vegetables and what have you. Um, and corn gluten being there has no effect. When it turns to a nitrogen, the food web will feed the nitrogen back to the plant in exchange for sugar. That every plant, every green producing plant naturally produces in its roots, and it gives it to the food web, and the food web in response goes out and brings back what the plant is asking for. It's a very intricate system, but it is so fundamentally basic how this works. And corn gluten, our problem our problem stems from our bad foods. When the human body, and you'll find this in nature all over the place, to just back up what I'm saying, the human body now cannot ingest gluten because we're not healthy. When we're healthy, corn gluten has no effect on us. Just like you're going to see most animals grazing on a lot of things, corn, wheat, barley, rye, and things just naturally out in the field. You'll find rabbits out there, you'll find deer out there, you'll find cows grazing in it. All of these animals have no problems processing this because they're healthy, they're eating what they should be eating. We're the ones with the problem. Our foods have become so dangerous and so chemical ridden. You go into a grocery store today and it frightens me. And you start looking at some of the ingredients on some of these boxes and these bags, and they're listing chemicals, not actual foods and food groups and minerals. They're just listing chemicals on some of these things. And it scares the living daylights out of me as to what it's actually doing in the human body. Is it there for flavoring, or is it there to actually do harm? I fear that it might be there to do harm. So I grow my own. It's relatively simple. For 49 cents, you can get a bag of seeds, put them in the soil, take care of the soil, and the soil will take care of you and give you foods you haven't tasted in 35 years because they're just not available anymore. We've mistreated the yards and our gardens so badly that they can't even survive without the NPK system, which is just a chemical-based system giving us fruits and vegetables that are not good for us.
okay, I want to go back to the worms a little bit. Um, you gave us some solutions in the book how to actually make more worms come. Um, do you want to share a little bit about that?
Well, worms are they're actually chasing parts of the food web. When the food web ingests the sugars and does this exchange, it puts off a very small smell in the soil. Now it's there and we smell it as one thing, but worms smell it as ammonia. And you can actually take a very small amount of ammonia in a hose end sprayer and spray down your lawn and attract worms. Now, of course, they're going to come in and they're looking for something to eat. They're looking for the food web. So you may want to add just a hint of sugar. In this case, I'm referring specifically to deer grade molasses. Now, most of your hunters are going to know what that is, but it is a raw form of molasses from the tree that has been cleaned up and filtered out a little bit. Completely organic, that you just put in a hose end sprayer with that hint of ammonia, and you spray this on your lawn. You spray this on your garden, and the food web thrives because it's getting the sugar, and the worms come in to feed on the food web because that's just what they do. It's part of it's part of the system. Everything eats everything else. You start at the bottom and you work your way up to the top of us at the food on the top of the food chain. As we take care of the bottom, the worms just come in and thrive. And there's your irrigation. There's your aeration in the soil. Everything you need for your soils to be abundant and grow well.
Now, early on in the book, you talked about your bounty was like 600 pounds. How much did you have to plant to get 600 pounds?
3 tomato plants.
3 tomato plants. You got
That's
600 pounds?
600 pounds of tomatoes.
Wow.
From 3
and you said
plants.
They grew to like 16 feet?
Yeah, 16 to 19 feet. My last measurement from a year ago, my tomato plants extended 19 feet above the ground. Yes.
Now, are they growing up or out?
Out.
Okay.
I don't train them up because they're natural vines. They grow naturally in the wild. And I just went back to nature and I said, why am I causing myself a problem where they can fall over, they can, be pinched off, they can this, they can that. I'm not saying don't train your tomatoes to be up in the sunlight and what have you, but when you start getting plants that are that long, let them run natural. And the abundance is incredible. Just take care of the soil and the plants will take care of you.
All right, we have about 4 minutes left. I want to talk a little bit about you about the last chapter. I think you talked about volcano ash and living next to a volcano. Now, I follow Dr. Joel Wallach, and he actually he's a naturopathic doctor and has been teaching people about health and reversing diseases for over 50 years now. Now, one of the things he talked about in his books was wood ash. He said that they used to put wood ash in the ground, and that would help the minerals. Can you give us a little bit about volcano and why
Yes.
you need to be living near
Dr. Joel Wallach is a friend of mine. I follow him myself. He has heard of the book. He follows the book. He agrees that, I should have put blooming minerals in there. And I just didn't have the authority at the time that I was publishing to put blooming minerals, his mineral substance in the book to direct people as to where to get their hands on it. But what we're talking about is volcanic ash bringing out the minerals and the mineral base that all of our plants, even us as humans, need. We need 70 to 90 minerals, the mighty 90, in the human diet. And we can get those naturally from the plants, and we can help the soils by bringing all of those things in through volcanic ash, through some Gaia minerals, which is during the Ice Age, it scratched all of these minerals up and piled them up in this huge mountain. And, Dr. Wallach has found it in a very, very clean way from, prehistoric times. And these minerals, this is what everything needs. This is what we're taking out of the soil. What people misunderstand is that when they're growing a yard or growing weeds out in an area where they want to put a garden, that every one of these plants for years and years has been taking something out of the soil, continually taking something out of the soil as it grows, as it produces. And we are not replenishing the soils of these minerals. The minerals may be available deep in the soils, but if we've got too many weeds, obviously there's a soil problem. As we eliminate these issues and drive the weeds away, we get these minerals back. We get these things back. But who wants to wait 2 or 3 years for the soils to release them again when we can put them back immediately and start getting the results in weeks, not months or years? And that's what the book is about. It's giving us the ability to do this immediately, not next year.
All right. We have to wrap up. We only have a minute or so left. So again, can you give your information that people can contact you?
Yes, you can find me on thegreenwizardsguide.com and get your hands on a copy of the book. You can find my supporting website over on YouTube under the name Green Wizard, where there's more information, more detail about gardening specifically. The book is designed around yards, but so much of this bleeds over into the gardening world and into the farming world. We can get healthier, people. The book makes it available. Reach out to me. I'm out there. The book and the information are incredible. I've spent 15 years putting this all together and 5 years writing the book. Learn from my mistakes.
Do you do one-on-one coaching?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And very quickly, because we do have to wrap up. My problem in my land or where I'm going to plant my garden is I have critters. I have groundhogs, I have foxes. How do we keep, do you have something to tell us to keep the plants away from them?
Well, you can fence the area in, but you want to start with moving objects. And you can buy, CDs to just spin in the wind and little fans and what have you that are going to spin in the wind. Um, you can get solar powered thumpers that drive these animals crazy and drive them away. There's so many organic, safe ways to do this that we don't need to be putting out traps. We don't need to be doing some of these other things. Just having dogs around and having their manure around your garden will drive a lot of the predatory animals away and keep your garden safe.
Okay, thank you again for joining us. I think I want to invite you to come back and talk a little bit more, and I will let you know
Absolutely.
when the availability will be. But we want to have you come back and give some more information. In the meantime, thank you for listening to the Jadu Lifestyle Podcast, and we want you to ask you to go. If you're interested in gardening, go look up Ron's book. It's really a short read. I finished it in about an hour, and it's called The Green Wizard Guides. His name is spelled Neitzel, and his first name is Ron. So the last name is Neitzel. Thank you again, and join us for another episode of Jadu Lifestyle, where you get to life and you live it too.